Hello and welcome to another Raggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits review. It's a night of beer reviews, one after the other, all night. So this is from Jennings Brewery and it's Atomic Fairy. Bought this from Home Bargains, so I'll tag them in later, and it's still at Home Bargains as well. Oh my god, it has some bump on the back. So it says here, son of Cumbria, eminent scientist John Dalton. Alright. It's an IPA, 3.8%, so it's not too strong. And yeah, it's got another load of bump on the back, but I'll save that for another time. The key thing is, let's see what it tastes like. So tonight, I'm doing one after another. I've already done one beer review, that went down really well. Brand new beer, second brand new beer than that. I do like tasting new beers, that's what it's all about, isn't it? I don't think there's anything better than going to a pub or going to a shop, picking up a beer you've never had before and experiencing it. Yes, you know, you're not supposed to drink too much, blah blah blah, but just looking at it from the point of view of experiencing beer, isn't that what all us fans of beer really want to do? Just try new stuff. It's like being in the sweet shop. I love it. So, golden to amber pour, white head. Can't smell any. Can't see any lacing or carbonation. Maybe it's not the glass for it. On the aroma, I've got a hint of toast on the aroma. Different. Right, let's dive in. Hint of fruitiness in there. Very different to a lot of IPAs. A lot of IPAs, it's all about whacking you with full-on strength, full-on aroma, and yet sometimes you just want something that does what it's supposed to do on the tin, but be a little bit more subtle. I think this is going to be a subtle journey. So I got an email earlier about being a beer influencer. I did mention it a bit in the last review before I got cut off because the battery was going dead. Yeah, so I don't mind that. It's something interesting. I try to be positive about all the beers I have. There's only been one or two that have really been dire, and there was obviously something wrong. Because if you're releasing a beer, if I'm in charge of a company and I'm releasing a beer, I want that beer to be as good tasting as possible, because one, sales, two, negative reviews will harm product. Negative reviews of anything eventually will harm, although not always, because if you're looking at reviews, just going off on a tangent, Captain Marvel that came out last year, there's a lot of anti Brie Larson, and I think she's a really nice, she comes across as a nice person. I don't really care what other people say about people. You take people as you find them, and she plays a good part in that film, but the anti-movement tried to get the score of the film so low on these aggregate sites like Rotten Tomatoes that there was a backlash. That backlash made that film bigger and bigger, and it took over £1 billion. So sometimes being negative still doesn't get them people anywhere. You look at over the years when they've tried to stop music being played, Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Relax, everybody knew what it was on about. They banned it. What happened? It was top of the charts, wasn't it? It's amazing how the public will say, no, don't dictate to us what we will and won't buy. We'll just go and buy it. I mean, the last 2 years, a Nottingham Ladbaby, he sang about sausage rolls and got to #1 twice. And the great thing about it is that he donated his money to charity. That, you've got to, that is great. Anytime when celebrities donate, I mean, obviously, he's earning a lot off YouTube, I presume anyway, because if you've got, say, 700, 800,000 subscribers watching your channel, you're going to be making a nice penny, and through other means as well. I mean, I make some money from the internet, from our website, so I know how the internet works. But to give that money to charity, and people, because they're fed up of the likes of what's that show called, X Factor, and them sort of shows getting the #1 every single Christmas, that show the songs about sausage rolls is the British public's way of saying, up yours, we are going to make this bloke #1 because he's doing it the right way, donating it, all the proceeds to charity, and it's from Nottingham too. Cheers, good lad. Anyway, so back to the beer. Yeah, definitely a more subtle IPA. This to me is a beer that is aimed at the more traditional beer drinker. So somebody that's John Smith's, that type of thing, doesn't know what an IPA is, thinks, yeah, I'll give it a go. Is it worth me treading in? And you think, the thing with all beers, there has to be steps. Say on the bottom step you've got your standard stuff like Guinness, John Smith's. Not that we're calling anything standard, but you've got to give a reference point. And then you move up from that, and then you move up and up and up, and then you increase the hops, you increase the malt, you increase strength. So this at 3.8%, it is primarily aimed at the market that's a step away from the big sellers that are everywhere. And to me, that's where they've aimed it at, and I totally understand that. I totally get that. And that's why there's a market, not just for beers that are 10%, but all the way down. There's a market for every type of beer. And as long as it tastes good, that's all that matters at the end of the day. Yeah, it's all about the subtleness. I'm getting a bit of hops, a bit of fruitiness, but it's all hints, it's not full on. I'm also getting a bit of toast as well. I must be craving toast. Although I did have 4 slices of toast and a tin of baked beans this morning at work. People's faces at work like, oh no, not human beings. And I don't know if anybody else is the same, but when I have real ales, there's obviously a reaction in one's stomach, and it can lead to flatulence and or farting, depending on which way you want to say it. But anyway, yeah. And the next day, my workmates I've had to in the beer room, I've ran out of a lot of my stockpile of beer stuff that I don't review, obviously, and like old homebrews and wines and stuff. So I'm down to the homebrew beer now, and obviously it's potent stuff and all that yeast and that. And for the last week, my God, I've been evil at work, and it's been ever so funny. And today, one of the people who we have fun with at work is back, and yeah, he hates anything, the talk of it or anything along them lines, which is great for me because I just love it. I just love winding people up, because when people can wind you up, it's great, but when they can't take it, but they give it, then it's nice to give it back, and in ample measure. And sometimes, yeah, they deserve it. Oh, so Jennings Brewery. One of my favourite beers from Jennings was Cumberland, and I like Cumberland sausages as well, actually, funnily enough. And I had 6 last night with 4 eggs. Oh, went down a treat. But anyway, back to Cumberland. What a beer. You don't see it very often these days. The only time I see Cumberland is in multi-packs. of Marston's beer, because Jennings, if you didn't know, is a Marston's owned brewery, same as McEwen's, same as Wychwood Brewery, same as, what should we get one wrong, Eagle Brewery, Wingwood Brewery, and if I'm wrong I do apologise, but I don't think I am. And yeah, the Marston's Brewery Shop, fantastic place to go to if you're ever near Burton-on-Trent. If you ever get a chance to go on the brewery tour, well worth doing. 15 quid I think it is, 15 or 12. I think you get a pint, but they have open top. So you look behind me here. There you go. You see that, the demijohn and the, well that's obviously a closed system for fermentation. My God, it's been 2 weeks now. I'm getting bored of waiting. One's a port and one's a ginger wine, by the way, at 18%. Oh, can't wait to try it. But they keep bubbling. Why are they bubbling? I can't. There's obviously some sugars that haven't fermented. So the last thing I want is a sugary wine or a sugary ginger wine or sugary port. But anyway, with regards to that, Marston's, they do an open top brewery system. So I'm a bit worried that elements can get into the brew. You know, obviously there's always stuff in the air, even in a place like this. This is my kitchen. Yeah, I'm poor. Yeah, but we're not all rich, are we? But anyway, yeah, I don't want to go down that road. Anyway, we are what we are. Yeah, but an open top system, and imagine if the windows are open and birds get in. That could pose issues. But anyway, yeah, they've got an open top system, and that's how they brew their beers. And it's fascinating for people who want to know about homebrew and want to see how it's done. You know, all these brewery tours at your local breweries, if you can get on one, go down, see how it's done. And I've done home brewing for the best part of 15 years. Because when I was at the Arboretum, I'd been home brewing for 5 years then, but well, at least 2 or 3 years maybe. So anything up to 15 years I've been home brewing. And in fact in 2010 when I went to Sainsbury's, I put the home brew to one side because I could get a beer that cheap that I didn't even need to brew it. You know, when you're getting stuff for 20 pence, 30 pence a bottle, you don't need to brew. Although funnily enough I won't touch any of that now, but that's because obviously I had enough then. Anyway, back to Jennings. Yeah, this is a nice, it's a nice beer. That it's the spot. You're just getting a bit more of a twang now as you're going down. Like all beers, when you start, you get some flavour. Your palate is being cleansed with this. You know, the beer. So don't judge it by the first half. Judge it by the second half when it's more in your system and you're tasting it. To say it's only 3.8%, 8% rather, it tastes stronger than a 3.8%. And I've got to say, it's not a bad beer at all. There's 2 of these at Own Bargains. There was this, and what was the other one? Fine, I've got it in the shed anyway. But I mean, for me, it's great that the likes of Home Bargains have got beers that no other supermarket's doing. They may well appear in other supermarkets because I do think that Home Bargains and B&M get beers before other supermarkets. So that's great. Great for me because I can review them. A little bit of a twang in the back end. Nice flavour. My opinion hasn't changed. This is definitely aimed at the mainstream market, and obviously for sales, on a sales basis, and obviously aimed at draft. You know, on the pumps. But obviously you've got to get a name out there, haven't you? And it's very nice. It's a very nice, drinkable IPA that will shock some of the stronger IPA people. People who are used to IPAs being full of hops and citrus flavours and that. It's a very different beast. Very different, but very unique as well. It's actually not bad. Not a bad pleasure to drink it. So, golden amber pour, white head, subtle hops and fruitiness on the nose. That translates to the taste. There's a bitterness in the back end, a bit of a twang, and overall, like I've said, you can see where it's aimed at. So, but I've got to say, I've got that nice bit of citrus at the end there. So it's definitely a beer that, as you're going down, it changes. Very interesting. Atomic Fury IPA out of 5. 4.3 out of 5. That was nice. I enjoyed that. Right. Thanks for watching, and more reviews coming. Oh, it's going to be a good night. Although I've got to cook some steak and dinner for the kids soon, so he's not having steak, I'm having steak. Thanks for watching. See you soon.